to start talking and going to football games.
Yeah, sure.
So a couple years prior to this, I had been asked to join a fantasy football league. And it was just some of my silly friends. Somebody had left, and they wanted a sucker that was going to pay $250 for the entry fee. And they were like, Pilar will do it. She never says no. And so I did. And I realized, like, this is a game of just skill and strategy, right? And if you really understand the defenses and you understand which players fit into which offenses, and then you really understand which players are weak by injury versus the defenses and stuff and statistics, it's all a numbers game is really what it was. I was like, I can really clean up here. And so that's what I did. I just put a lot of work into it, and I started studying plays and understanding, like, you know, what teams do what well and which receivers are stronger running which routes and which defenses are, you know, great with which receivers and which ones slack. And so I won that year. And then they were like, what the heck? Like, you were supposed to just lose. But I don't like losing. So if you tell me all I have to do is work hard to get it and to win, then okay. You took my $250. Like, I'm going to work hard to win. So I had already won 5 championships, and then I started getting really smart in trading memorabilia, signed memorabilia for players. And then I finally got kicked out of the league after 5 championships.
I guess you got your $250 back.
Heck yeah, I
did. That's fun. So, what other types of jobs have you done in the past? I know that there's some NBC stuff. You worked with a couple celebrities out there, and some TV shows.
Yeah, I was on a show called Las Vegas. I had some recurring episodes on that show. And then right when I was filming that, they were casting for this show, Deal or No Deal, and they reached out to me because I had already been doing stuff with NBC. And they said, you know, we're looking for models. And I was kind of like, oh, gosh, like, I'm really comfortable just kind of being 5'3" and working as an actress right now. And I don't know, like, I don't want to just be told no, that I'm too short. And they said, just go in, right? Just go in, and hopefully your personality will be bigger than your height. and it was. I mean, it got me the job. And then it was when they were casting Deal or No Deal. So, yeah, I mean, I did that from the pilot all the way up until the last episode.
Wow.
So, yeah, that one was an amazing job. I would wake up sometimes and I'd be like, really? I need to pinch myself because this can't be my job. It cannot be this easy. Life cannot be this spectacular for anybody. Like, this is not fair. Like, you almost feel guilty, but you know, I mean, you do responsible things with your time and your money when you're on a show that big. That I felt so much good came out of me being on that show. I did a lot of medical camps, dental camps in like third world countries, and helped out a lot of people. And so that was a huge opportunity for me, and one of the most unreal moments of my life. It was just opportunity after opportunity would come because of that show. And I can't even imagine what it would be like if social media was as big back then as it is now.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, I'll tell you what, we would have all been in trouble because we were a menace to society. Let me be honest with you. All 26 of us, Jim, like the games that we would play in the back. And I mean, I always take naps. And thank God that they never messed with me, because then it would have really gone down. They knew not to. But all the other girls, when they would take a nap, they would put like whipped cream on their face or put whipped cream in their hands and then tickle their nose.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah, and they have to go back through hair and makeup. So we would have a lot of fun together, a whole lot of fun together. And yeah, I still have friends from that show. It's great. So many years later.
I thought I heard a rumor that they might be bringing
Instagram would have killed us. What's that?
I thought I heard a rumor they might be bringing that show back.
They are. I actually think that they're filming it right now in Orlando.
you might want to
Yes.
get back in there, right? Please.
No, right? I know. No, they're going in a completely different direction, and it's going to be very exciting. I mean, people are still going to be able to win $1 million.
Yeah.
But the times have changed and stuff, so the show's going in a different direction. But I'm excited for it to air. Jim, I want to be a contestant on the show. if I can have a chance to win $1 million in 1 hour, I mean, sign me up for that. Forget working 400 episodes.
Right.
Yeah, so I encourage people to go to the website and submit your videos and stuff, because that was real money that people were winning.
Yeah, it sounds.
And then my advice to people is don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. Like, winning $1 million is phenomenal, but if you're offered $375,000, take it. Don't be greedy. Don't lose it all.
Yeah, well, that can be life changing. $100,000 can be life changing for the right person, the right position in their life. So, yeah, good advice.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that you weren't put off by your size and you went in there and you auditioned for that job, because I think a lot of people out there would be intimidated because they already cut themselves out of the role without even trying. And I love that you tried. I mean, it just pays to get out there, right?
It does, 100%. And when you're in the world of entertainment, actually, when you're in the world of being an entrepreneur, you hear no so many times. So many times that in the beginning, it kind of stings. And in the beginning, you kind of are like, oh, that sucks. Like, your feelings get hurt, and you start, these voices inside your head start sabotaging you. And then you just learn, like, you know what? One person's no is just their opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next person that tells me no, it's going to be their opinion. Each no I thought was going to get me closer to a yes. And each time somebody told me no, I felt like I went in there with just a little bit more of the attitude of, I have nothing to lose, right? You tell me no, cool. I've heard it a million times. And so, yeah, I'm really happy that I went out for it too. But I kind of felt like, the second that they asked for a model for a primetime network show, they're expecting somebody to be at least 5'7". So I'm so grateful that I went in for it.
Well, I have the same mentality as you do. Definitely, every no is that much closer to a yes, and the yeses do come when you're persistent and you work hard. Obviously, you've seen quite a few of those.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a time, and even when I learned in sales, when I started my company Rock and Buddha, I was like, why is my stuff not selling? It's so cool and it's so hip, and I was like, the reason why it's not selling, Pilar, is because of you. You're not working hard enough. You're afraid to go into another boutique and they say, oh no, we're at capacity right now taking in new products, and you're getting tired of people telling you no. And so that was why my product wasn't selling, not because it wasn't good, not because of me. It was because of me. I myself was just listening to people say, no, we're not taking on new products right now, or no, thank you. This isn't exactly the direction that we're going in. And then all of a sudden you start finding boutiques and places that can. And then I started selling them online, and it was just like, oh, this is selling just fine. So you have to be really careful when people tell you no. And I also feel that if you're ever in a position to tell somebody no, you say it very, I guess, with the most encouragement as you can possible.
There's feelings on the other side of that.
What's that?
There's feelings on the other side of that no, right?
There is, and you never know how that person's going to take the word no. You always hope that they're going to take it and just dust themselves off and try again. But, eventually the word no, it's inevitable that it does start to wear down on people. And it takes a very healthy person to sit back and say, why are they telling me no? And let me do some self-reflection on myself. And why am I not getting that job? Why am I not selling my products? What am I doing that I can do differently? And you have to be very mature, and you have to be very honest with yourself. And then you have to be willing to make the changes and put in the work. So,
yeah, I think that, your outlook on that is very encouraging for others to hear. I'm equally impressed by my wife's drive to go out and do sales. She sells wine for our company, and she's doing a phenomenal job, and she's never sold anything in her life before. And she just went out there, and we went through the emotions of hearing no, and now she gets more yeses than nos. And I'm just so impressed by strong women like yourself and her. On one of our earlier shows, we had Bricia Lopez on here. She runs a restaurant, and she's heard a lot of no's in her life, and now she is a James Beard Award-winning chef restaurant. And I'm just so impressed by that.
Wow.
So, what's your secret just to keep that drive? Because, I think about your current position on Sirius. You're in the world of football, and is it tough being a woman, or are you just rolling with the punches? How does that work for you?
Yeah, of course it's challenging being a woman in a male-dominated industry, both in fantasy sports and also in automotive journalism, which I've done that for almost 10 years now. But you know what you're getting into when you sign up for that job, right? Like as much as I just have to work a little bit harder, that's all. But at the same time, I'm also granted a lot more opportunity because I'm a woman. Like sometimes I get interviews that guys can't get because the athletes or the commissioner or somebody's just like, nah, I don't want to talk to him. Oh yeah, sure, I'll talk to Pilar. Sometimes they want like a softer girl, vibe in there, and sometimes they don't, right? And sometimes it's still going to be a very male-driven industry, and so you can't deny it. You can't look away from it, and you can't say that it doesn't exist. But as a woman who's in the middle of it, I knew exactly what I was getting myself into, and sometimes it's very discouraging. And my husband, he'll be the first to tell you, like, I still sometimes get a little discouraged sometimes, and then I just remind myself, like, with the good comes the bad, and with the bad comes the good. So just shake it off, and then you move on. But, yeah, and any time it would be like a man trying to work in a woman-dominated industry.
Yeah, sure.
You just have to work a little bit harder.
Yeah. Well, I'm really encouraged by your success, even just hearing it again today, as a woman, and knowing that there's going to be women that hear this show that feel like, gosh, you know what? Maybe that's what I just need to be doing. Is there a specific piece of advice that you would want to give them for the ones that are kind of on the fence about jumping into a man's world, or a job that maybe they feel they're not 100% comfortable with?
Yes, just do it. Just jump in. Don't put one foot in the water or a toe to test the temperature. Just jump in, roll up your sleeves, and get in. And it's okay to cry. When you're at home at night and it's difficult, it's okay to still feel emotions, because you have to acknowledge the fact that you're still a woman, and what you bring to the table is part of, I'm not saying to be emotional all the time, but being that softer side. And I'll give you an example. One time when I was doing some pit reporting, after a crash, you have a producer in your ear that's telling you, go get the interview. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I have to go talk to a team and a wife right now who doesn't even know if her husband's okay. And I didn't want to do it, but my producer's in my ear saying, you have to go get this interview. And instead of being like, oh, is the car coming back? Look, by that time, everybody's already seen on TV that the car is being towed in. But I interviewed the wife and asked her, is he okay? Made it more about like a human interaction versus how are you guys going to make up the points or anything like that, right? And
yeah.
The biggest feedback that we got from that particular weekend, not just from that team, but all the teams, was it's really nice to have somebody who feels human and helps us feel human again when we're in this position. So own being a woman and own everything, and just know that, yes, it's going to be tough sometimes, but you know what you're getting yourself into. So go in there with, your head held high, and when you need to cry, go home and cry. It's fine. In the morning, just go right back at it, though. Don't cry for too long.
You got to go back to work. Well, I think
Yeah.
I think that both men and women, they express their emotions differently. I think that men also feel a lot of